Having trouble going live. Great.
No, you're live. It says we're live.
Doesn't say we're live on my end, so we're not live, folks. We're not live, and I'm not Brent Leary.
We're hallucinating. It's all AI driven.
And you are not?
Wait, what is that? I'm Chevy Chase and you're not.
It's weird. Technical difficulties. It says on my end we're not live. You're saying we're live.
And my end, we're 32 seconds into live.
I'm going to defer to the venerable Paul Greenberg, and now it's saying we're live. All right. Look, this is funny. One computer, it's live. The other computer, okay, now it just went live. All right. All computers are saying we're live. So I'm Brent Leary.
And all computers say I'm Paul Greenberg.
And all the men shall, anyway, it's the CRM Playaz. You know who we are. And this is great. For the first time in I don't know how long, it's the moment of Sven.
Yay. Welcome back. We weren't the same without you, Sven.
Well, I was, but you know.
I was using the metaphorical we.
Okay,
right. So what is this language? I'm
yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, well, it's sort of halfway between Dutch and Scandinavian of varying types.
Dutch and Avian. There you go.
Dutch and Avian. It could be, yeah. I mean, Sahil makes a good point. It could be Afrikaans.
I love how Sahil participates in everything now. It's great. The moment is Sven. The guy, that is great. You know, when you were away from us, Finn, when you don't show up here, you're away. Okay.
That's how we look at it. Your moment of Sven is the opening of our show after we identify who the hell we are. That's how it works.
We kind of rely.
Works.
We rely on that.
Yeah.
Know what we're doing.
If you're not here, if we don't have the moment of Sven, then you're away. You are away.
It's just a moment.
All right, language.
Anyway, so do you have a guess?
You know what? I like Sahil's options there. I'll go with Afrikaans. The only reason Dutch doesn't seem to quite be it. It's sort of like sort of Dutch. It's Sven, if it's sort of Dutch, it's Afrikaans.
Sven does not appreciate Sahil helping you out, apparently.
Yeah, but he's right. I think he's right. I mean, it's not that I wouldn't have come up with it necessarily, but Afrikaans. Yep, that's what, not African, Afrikaans. Those are two different things. Spend Afrikaans.
Sahil is a ringer. He spent some time there.
That's right. That's why I went with it, because it was. I thought Dutch originally, and I said it could be some, but it seemed like I remember I said it was a mix between Dutch and Scandinavian, but meaning it was Dutch, but it wasn't Dutch. And when Sahil said Afrikaans, it clicked in. That was it.
I was going to say it was the double Dutch.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that song? Double Dutch bus walking down the street.
Double Dutch was also a game little kids played when in the.
Oh, yeah, the jump rope thing, right?
Yeah. I didn't.
Anyway, so we are the CRM Playaz, and we have been bringing the ads. That's with a Z since 2009.
Unbelievable, man. I don't believe we've been doing that. That's AI generated. It's a hallucination.
It's totally legit. We can. I was going to do the too legit to quit.
I'm frightened to death to say that I actually suspected that was on your mind.
You never let a good chance to use a hammerism. I don't know. Not good. Not the best thing. Anyway, yes, we are. We've been here for 14, almost. We're actually bearing down on 15 years in only like 2 months.
I know, 14 years, 10 months into this. And we will have some exciting things coming on next year in honor of our 15th anniversary.
Yeah, you know what? But before we even get to next year, just a little taste. guess that's coming. I know December 7th is kind of a tricky date to do stuff on, but hey, we're doing it. What are we doing?
I can tell you, but is this something Godfather? I can win this one easily.
No.
This is easy.
Hey, you know what? There was more writing there. Oh, you know what? It's actually there, but because of this stupid
I'm telling you, transition, man, you have to make it a PDF file.
That is really funny.
PDF file. PowerPoint, save as PDF, not Adobe PDF.
Well, tell them anyway what we're going to be doing on December 7th.
I mean, I hate to put it in these terms, but here's the deal. If you remember, at the end of last year, we did CRM trends for 2023. And we had several key players in the industry on to talk about that. And then about a week ago, I got a email from CIO Magazine asking me to talk about CRM trends in 2024. And I basically got on the call with the guy and said, I don't like trends at all. I hate trends. I just think they're ridiculous. And I told him some things. And then I did, for those of you who watched it, which I know you didn't, or you would really know the irony of this right now. I did Talking Headless yesterday, and the thing that I really disliked was CRM trends. And I ranted about them for about, I don't know, 3-4 minutes. And yet, what we're doing on December 7th, 2023, which is going to make this a very interesting show, given how much I can't stand CRM trends, is CRM Trends 2024. And we will have our guests for you shortly. We have one, but the others are in progress, and we'll wait till we get it a little more full. But once again, it will be prominent people in the CRM industry who I am hoping uniformly say CRM trends are stupid.
Well, you know what we'll do is this. We just asked an open question. What is CRM in 2023? We did that at the end of last year. So we'll just do that. We'll just say, what is CRM in 2024?
Good idea. Get the word trends out, and it's all copacetic.
And that way, yeah, you don't have to hate another segment of the show.
Unlike the one I've now had to modify my own name because of on our lower third.
Okay. So I was doing a search for something, and this came up.
Oh my God!
I don't even remember this taking place. I don't remember doing this. Do you?
It didn't. No, it didn't. It didn't actually end up happening.
Really?
The conference did. We went. That was the first. That was the first AX conference, AXP, whatever it was called, AXP conference in Ray did in where was it? In Atlanta.
It was in Atlanta. Yeah.
That's the one that actually happened. I went to. It was the only one I went to.
So this was 2020.
Yeah.
Like February of 2020, right before the world ended.
That's right. And it was the second to last thing I did in travel. And this particular fireside chat never happened.
Well, why didn't it happen? Because I have no memory of what happened with this.
We both ended up doing other things, and we didn't really need to do this. Okay. So you moderated some things, I moderated some other things. We got busy.
It looks like you were trying to figure out why we didn't do this in that picture.
I'm probably trying to figure out why we are doing it. It's not like this is a new combination of people.
Yeah. We were in like year 11 or 12 or something like that.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Well, maybe we should do that at some point in time on, I don't know, another show.
Not really. No.
Probably not. Probably. All right. Oh, this really sucks.
Why?
Because I was going to ease you into, before I do that, before I announce something that, I think is going to suck because it looks like StreamYard has done it to me again. something that didn't suck
PDF.
this week took place on our buddy Esteban Kolsky's show. I was gonna say, man, I'm glad I caught myself. I was meaning to say whispered insights, but I almost said withered insights, which wouldn't have been really
that
good.
Would have been funny. Wuthering Insights by
Jane Eyre and
Emily Bronte.
Yeah, Emily Bronte, or is it Charlotte? I can't get the Brontes.
I don't think they could get themselves straight either. So,
but by far, this is definitely not withered insight. It's not even whispered insight. This is stream of conscience. Lauren Vargas going off on where we are with AI and learning today. Check this clip out. This is good stuff. Lauren Vargas, and notice Esteban doesn't even get a word in edgewise. It's kind of
she's literally the only person on the planet who could do that.
Yeah, there's some good reasons for that too. But check out this is good stuff. Check it out.
As human beings, don't even know how to consistently learn and have constructive dialogue and manage conflict. If we don't do that outside of the AI sphere, whatever we're feeding into it is a reflection of those behaviors, those habits. So can we truly actually learn in the AI era? It's about taking responsibility for what we are doing, what we are feeding, how we are communicating and collaborating and being in community with other human beings. And I think that if we're just throwing it over the wall and just saying, well, that's tomorrow's problem, or it doesn't matter, all these machines are going to rise up and take over. That's giving up. That's not taking responsibility. That's not taking agency over the types of preferred futures that we should be collectively imagining. It's about taking responsibility over what data am I putting out in the world? How am I processing that data? I think we need to get better at understanding the data we're ingesting individually, the data that we are spewing out there, both individually and collectively. The majority of the enterprise.
Well, I didn't mean to do that. She was really rolling. What happened? Why did it take her out?
On the internal side, we're putting so much faith into a small amount of people that have an understanding of data and are building the models, rather than how do we take a more regenerative approach and start ensuring that we're not just building digital literacy skills, but data literacy skills so that everybody can take a more active approach to what is happening and why it's happening.
Man, that was good.
Yeah, she's killer. Lauren's one of the smartest people in the industry, and it's not because she's chosen to go other directions. Like she's very, she's got her doctorate in library science, things like that. She's not as well known in the industry as she should be because she has more to contribute to it than almost all of us combined, right? So I highly recommend that if you see anything that allows you to hear Lauren Vargas or read something she wrote or watch something she did, do it.
Nice. Okay. I just like the fact that Esteban doesn't even try to talk when she's talking. It's kind of a beautiful thing. So
again,
it doesn't happen that often.
Never does, except with her.
All right. So before we do what everybody, really comes to watch the show for, I thought I'd give you like a softball question. Try to ease you.
I don't do 2 questions of a show. I want time and a half.
Double. I'll give you double, if you really want it. But I thought I'd start you out with a softball question. Like who said this? So who said this?
Oh, that's a softball question for sure. Do you actually want me to answer it? You want me to actually answer it?
That guy said that.
Yeah.
That guy said that.
That's the zombie version of him.
I took a little liberty.
I see that to eliminate all my wrinkles. To eliminate most of my skin.
You look really nice and smooth
Smooth. I look literally worse than Grumman's Chinese theater wax figure would look.
I mean, you're clean shaven, you're smooth skin. It just really looks good. Even our guest in the green room is laughing. He's appreciating that look.
Oh, he's laughing.
He doesn't
at
know
it.
I did that to him too.
Laughing with it. He's laughing at it.
Yeah, no, he's giving me this, so we're good to go. So this took place. This was just you talking as you were doing Talking Headless. You notice how I put in there that you're not only with Talking Headless, but you also Stomp the Godfather. Just thought you'd appreciate that. So you were saying this in a certain context. Why were you saying hallucinations are real? Give them a little taste, and then they could go and look at it after the show. The whole Talking Headless after the show.
So I happen to be on the show. I talk about one vendor, and this is industry analyst show, hardcore, right? I talk about one vendor. The vendor I spoke about this week was ServiceNow. One of my concerns with ServiceNow, look, on the whole, if you listen to the show, you'll see I have nothing but admiration for the company. I love a lot of what they're doing. I've seen them come from not from nowhere. They were doing pretty well in their area of expertise, but now they're a much bigger presence, a much smarter company, and a much faster growing company under Bill McDermott and Nick Sitson than they were in any previous generation. However,
wait a minute. You said yesterday, just want to give a little context. You said yesterday that I think you started advising them when they were nothing but a small $2.8 billion company.
That's exactly what it was. A minuscule $2.8 billion company. Tiny little thing. Could fit the entire company on my thumb. Right. So one of the things I had some concerns about, because they're as like everyone else, they're all in a very practical way and a very intelligent way on AI and Gen AI, and I'll let you watch the show to see why it's practical and what's intelligent about it. But one of my big concerns was they didn't seem to talk much about the guardrails that are necessary for Gen AI. And when it boils down to it, Gen AI hallucinates, okay? Meaning hallucinations are real, right? And that's how I put it. And because ultimately, while they're fake news and fake knowledge, they're real. They really occur in Gen AI, right? And you have to do something about it. And I didn't see from them what I was hoping to see in their platform or their concerns about that. And that's where hallucinations are real comes from. The end.
I just liked it.
I thought it was a cool line.
Yeah. So, I need to be brought out more. So check out the whole show, right?
I might have been talking about LSD though. You don't know. It's possible I was talking about that too.
I'm going to leave that one alone. But
well, I never took it, but I was great at talking people down.
Well, remember what my last name is? And that apparently there's some dude named Tim that was kind of big in that back way before my time. All right. Talking Headless. So they can check that out on PPN.
Talking Headless, episode 9, ServiceNow. And something I really like and something I really dislike. Check it out.
I know something that not only is real, but is something that you really like. You know what that is? Why is there no sound on it?
Yes.
What the heck is going on?
Yeah.
What sound?
I don't hear a word.
Oh, what the heck is going on with my technology? StreamYard is just screwing me all up. Anyway, it's now time for Stump the Godfather. Stump the Godfather brought to you by Microsoft Dynamics 365 Copilot. Anyway, you guys already know what it is. You don't really need the build up. Yeah, I feel a little thrown off. I need a little Benny Hill.
I'm doing
but
Benny
anyway.
Hill.
Okay, well, how can you top that? You can top it with this. Today's Stump the Godfather question. This is literally hot off the presses from a reliable source, Sven. I'll tell you who the source is afterwards. So the question is, a record amount of money was spent this October online. More than 4.3 billion more than last year's October. So how much was it? How much was spent online this past October? Record spending. And the hint is 4.3 billion more than last year. So
I'm assuming this is during Amazon's second what do you call it? Cyber, whatever the hell they call it.
That was part
October.
of it.
Well,
that was in October. That was in October, but we're talking about the whole month. That was just 2 days in October. We're talking about the whole month.
That probably accounts for half of it.
How much was spent online in October? New record, 4.3 billion more than last year. So anybody with
what
guess?
I feel like saying, just to be a pain in the butt, 1.8 billion. Just because it's less than 4.3 billion, I want to say, 1.8 billion was spent. I mean, last year in October, they gave away 2.9 billion.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, good. Anybody have a guess out there before I guess?
All right. Yes, Sahil, Finn, even our guest in the green room, Mr. Lye. If you have a guess, put it in the private chat and we'll make sure everybody knows it before we give out the actual answer. So anybody out there, Sven is coming in hot. Sven is coming in with
Sahil.
Oh, that's Sahil. Sahil is coming in 62 billion. Does that cover everything? It's the spend online in the U.S.
In the U.S.
U.S. online spending.
Okay, Sven, Mr. Lye, you got any numbers? Oh, Anthony has something he's got.
Oh, okay. Wait. Let's see what we got here. We got
my retainers from the industry. You got to be kidding me.
Well, that's a little light for Paul. But,
yeah.
Sven, you don't have a guess here, Sven? You don't want to put your guess into the till? He's still smarting over the oh, all right, wait a minute. Oh, so Sahil
he's making
going
a joke
down.
based on my retainers from the industry. You got to make the kind of causal connection here.
Yeah, well, you that's I said that's still low. You're much higher.
I know.
Do you need help, Paul? That's a good question. You're making that much. Sven is
I feel like, I need help. Call the police. I'm being kidnapped. I'm being kidnapped. It's
not Halloween merchandise. It's all online sales for the month of October.
That would have to assume any B2B online sales where the government bought things from Amazon, let's say.
I think we may be reading just a bit too much into this.
All right.
I
got my number.
Okay. What's your number? I don't think Patrick is out for the wolf. The wolf.
No, Rebecca can't be here today. She's got a meeting.
Well, she's got better things to do.
Yeah. I'm saying 107 billion.
107 billion. Okay. So we have Google appeals record 4.3 billion. I don't know exactly what that has to do with the today's something.
Ben was looking up 4.3 billion, and that's what popped up. He was cheating.
So he's taking the Mike Fawcett route of trying to cheat. Well,
yeah, he's cheating.
Sven, if you're going to cheat, be a good cheater, because that's absolutely way off. Totally wrong. All right. I think we got you're 107. Sahil went from 62 billion down to 27 billion. Sven is at 106 billion. Anthony is saying your retainer. That's how much. That's your monthly retainer.
Anthony says 80 billion. 80 billion.
Oh, he's going with 80 billion. Okay. So we got a scan from 27 billion to 100 and Sven is just doing that because he's just beneath you.
Okay, 108 billion. I see you and raised you 2 billion, Sven. 108.
we're going back to the price of right is right model here. But anyway, so we're all locked in. The answer to the question of how much was spent online by U.S. consumers in the month of October is
Anthony, you were right nearby.
Billion. Yeah, and look, he's even doing a dance too. That's really good.
Ooh.
Yeah, and he didn't even go over. This is a true win for our first guest win, I think. Isn't it?
So. Yes. It is.
Yeah, and he is really celebrating. I got to tell you, he's pretty happy. Well, you know what? This is right up his alley when you think about it. When you think about what he's going to come on and talk about, this is pretty. We should not be surprised at all that he got it right, actually, when you think about it.
The question is unfair advantage or not?
All right. So that is the Stump the Godfather question of the week. Well,
Adobe was the source.
I literally just got this from their PR folks this morning.
Yeah, I didn't. I think I actually have that. I didn't read it.
Well, see, you should have read it. You could have been like Anthony and been right.
I could have disqualified myself.
Anyway, that is Stump the Godfather, brought to you by Microsoft Dynamics 365 Copilot. And now, for the introduction of the guests, I turn things over to the venerable Paul Greenberg.
Okay. You'll note I just changed from "you can't stump me" to "you can stump me." I just made the change. Right. So I've known this guy for getting close to 2 decades. I remember when he was running Oracle's CRM practice, which was a $2 billion practice at the time, that he sent me an email and he said, "Hey, I'd like to talk to you." And I said, "You know, I hate Oracle, right?" And he goes, "Yep, I do." And I said, "Okay." And this is the guy who convinced me to not hate Oracle and, in fact, actually start working with Oracle. He was so well known and wildly popular that not only did he build a incredibly advanced and also comprehensive Oracle CRM product suite and sell it to an enormous number of people, but he had the undying support of analysts and other influencers all over the place. I still remember, I'll leave the person unnamed, a significant analyst come over to him who was sort of PO'd at Oracle's actual AR head, who was not the greatest, and come to Anthony and say, "Can I be with your group?" Even though he was running the actual practice, he's not an AR guy, right? So, "Can I be with your group?" I was sitting there when that happened, right? And it was so, because Anthony's reputation was so strong. He built one of the best teams I've ever seen in the history of that company, many of whom are still friends today. And after Oracle, he kind of moved on past CRM, and he did very well wherever he went, but his heart's always kind of been here. I still remember, I want to say about halfway through his journey back to where he is now, to Amplience as CEO, he said, he sent me a note saying, "I miss CRM." I still remember this. And we talked about it for a while. And one other thing I'm going to tell you about him, aside from the fact that he's just a great guy, he's a thought leader. When we did the very first, when I was first chairing CRM Evolution for CRM Magazine, they were adamantly opposed to non-sponsoring vendors having anything to say at the conference, which is really stupid, given that when it boils down to it, they were human beings at the vendors, and they all had really intelligent thoughts, and they knew the world that they were in. And the thing that, though, softened them up a bit was I proposed this panel. And I'm not going to go into the whole story of the panel, which is hilarious and would hit somebody over the head who was on it. But
I think I know who
no,
that is.
yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And so does Anthony, since he was there was an interaction that had something to do with it that he was involved with, and he was not the guilty party, let's just say. So one of the reasons that they softened to the idea was because Anthony was a thought leader, and he was a thought leader who didn't constantly promote and push the product down somebody's throat. He presented ideas that were important, they were meaningful, in the context of the time and era we're in, and obviously aligned with Oracle itself in the practice he had, but at the same time was still meaningful in a very separate way. He's really good at that. And this is the guy we're actually now back in CRM with Amplience, and we'll find out what he's doing now. But this is the guy that I am just glad to see again. So why don't we just get him on here?
Yeah, but before we bring him on,
oh, okay.
Can we go? Oh, wait a minute. I need to come back on.
That would be a good idea. Probably before we bring him, I need to bring you on.
Yeah. You said he wrote you a note and he said, "I miss CRM," huh?
This is a while ago.
Yeah, First of all, never in my wildest dream would I ever imagine anyone writing a note that said, "I miss CRM." I got to tell you, that's really making me think about, should we even bring him on?
Well, we're done with CRM. You heard what John Reed said. We have nothing left to do.
All right. Well, since we're done, let's welcome Mr. Anthony Lye back. Welcome back to the industry that you missed so much, man.
I was almost in tears. It's Paul. I remember, when probably Brent couldn't even grow a beard 20 years ago.
Brent in his teen years.
I've been avid fans of both of you, and it was just so nice to get the invitation. Oh my God, Susie Penner. Oh
yeah, look at that.
Here we go. Wow, this is old home week.
I told her who was going to be on with us, and she immediately said, "I'm going to watch." So that's what it takes for her to watch us, Anthony.
Yeah, I do miss CRM. Maybe it's not the right acronym these days. Whoever knows what it is, but stuff with the customer has always been a lot more art than science.
Yeah.
Supply chain, it's kind of dull, but like the magic that happens between a company and a customer, it has always been for me, the most fun you can have with software, because it's not as simple or as straightforward, and everybody is vying for that customer, and the disruption and disintermediation of so many technologies and channels. It's hard. It's really, really hard. And every time you think you've cracked it, someone ups the game, and everybody's like, "Oh, we're screwed again." And you have to keep constantly like building and building and building. And it used to be like, oh, well, if you were a technology company, you'd have a good customer experience. But if you were a retail company, you couldn't. And I would always say, the consumer doesn't understand that. When the consumer's having a good time at Amazon and then they go to another company and it's a terrible experience, they don't say, "Yeah, I'll accept that." They're not as good. And so, look, I've always believed, and Paul and you, Brent, have been pioneers of this whole business, and it's been, just a really phenomenal opportunity for so much innovation and so much disruption that I miss it. I miss the challenges, and I had this wonderful opportunity to come back and to sort of jump in again and do something fun and disruptive.
So
thank you, Paul, for the very kind words.
It's all true. I never lie. I can be stumped, but I never lie.
Yeah.
Apparently, I'm always stumped. I'm always stumped, but I never lie. How's that? Right. So, why don't you tell us, though, why you think Amplience, well, first tell people about Amplience, and then why you think it's disruptive, too.
Yeah, so I was introduced to Amplience during my time at Palantir. For those people who don't know Palantir, it's probably the biggest AI company, certainly on B2B terms in the world. Does over $2 billion a year. And I became, like many people, very interested in the disruptive and sort of democratic sort of AI stuff. And I was really intrigued by what it could do and what it couldn't do. And I had really just come to a sort of an opinion, I guess, because it hasn't still been proven, that AI would have a profound impact on the customer experience in so many different ways. And the thing that really intrigued me was Amplience had established itself as a platform for content lifecycle management. So Amplience kind of does three things. It's sort of like got a digital asset management thing, like a database where you put all the content and everyone's like, check, that's good content. So that's, text, image, video. And that becomes like the single source of truth, right? That's where all the creatives post all the content. The second bit that Amplience has is a platform that helps the marketeers and merchants manipulate it, like put it in carousels, put it on mobile, put it on web, put it on point of sale, put it on TVs, and manage all of the experiences. And then the third bit was like a content delivery service, which is how do you get all the content out to all the caches so that it loads really fast and customers have great experiences. And what I started to hear was the content creation process worked really well for scheduled things. Like brands are pretty good at like lining themselves up to Valentine's Day, Cyber Monday, Christmas. The fashion business knows spring, summer, fall. But sort of what happens if there's an unpredictable event, an unforeseen thing? Probably the biggest one this year was Barbie. Everybody kind of passed on Barbie. And it became the highest grossing movie of the year. And every brand was like, oh no, we cannot, we need to respond. They went back to the creatives who said, well, we're busy and we can schedule it. And I felt that AI, text and image, would sort of empower these marketeers and merchants to generate content in near real time. And what if you could empower like normal people, mere mortals, to do the creative task? They could have a significant impact on those bottom of the pipe opportunities. And it could be as simple, Paul, as like the weather. Maybe there's a fundamental change in the weather. How quickly can a brand respond to that? Maybe there's a social media activity. The American women were like heavily favored to win the Women's World Cup, and they went out in the round of 16. Like there are a lot of brands that were like, oops, I don't really have much else. And they've not been able to sort of to take advantage or capitalize on that. So what if you could sort of take your product and you could generate 6 different backgrounds? What if you could use ChatGPT to generate 4 different blogs, one for each customer segment? All of a sudden, you sort of, AI becomes a productivity tool that changes the fundamentals of the bottom line. So I had to sort of impose my thinking on a platform that saw all the content, and Amplience is that. We're so lucky. We serve about 500 more brands like Gap, Crate and Barrel. I was just on the call yesterday with Specialized Bicycles. And, Specialized Bicycles is like, yeah, we miss out on tons and tons of opportunities because we can't respond fast enough. So that intersection of content management and AI, I really feel is a very disruptive and sort of democratic movement.
Huh. So you could, I guess, what I'm hearing, at least theoretically, you could. So you remember the product Thunderhead, which is now gone thanks to Medallia. Medalia's mess up of it. Let me be blunt.
Yeah.
But they were tracking the journey of millions of customers down to a single customer in real time, continuously. And theoretically, Amplience could literally produce a response to the various places in the journey necessary to drive the journey some other direction, the same direction further, end it, whatever, for whatever reason, but could optimize and then create and then produce, distribute, and allow consumption while the customer is being, in effect, monitored by Thunderhead on the journey. You could actually do something like that?
Yes. I'll caveat that, Paul, with I don't think that generative AI is today or tomorrow a platform for real-time personalization.
Okay.
If you've used any of the generative tools, certainly on the image side, they take a while. There's a lot of compute that goes into them. So I'm not suggesting that, every brand in the world change their website to be a generative prompt, because the expense of running all those GPUs and the time it would take, they'd have no customers. But if the merchants can see where there are opportunities and they can take the time to generate more variants, they can put those variants in different positions. So one of our customers sells couches, and they spent their sort of creative team spent all the time shooting, photographs of their couches behind or in front of, like, Cape Cod summer homes and Tahoe winter homes, only to find out that most of their traffic was coming through social media from people who lived in New York lofts. And they're like, oh no. And you can't really send a creative team out to every city, to every particular home style, and say, take pictures of everything. So this is where generative can augment. If you can take the standard product image and render it on any number of different backgrounds, you blend sort of context with content. And that was sort of the big idea. So I think we can take signals, but I think today the generative portion of customer experience is still on the inside of a company, more so than it is in real time on the outside. But it's funny, that everyone's like, oh my God, DALL-E 3 and all the magic of that stuff. If you're a brand, if you're a company, you can't really use that. And the reason you can't use that, to your point of hallucinations, Paul, is it doesn't know who you are. It doesn't know what products you have. It doesn't know the locations you serve. It doesn't understand your audience. And so, we show customers, let's take your product description directly from your website. Let's put it in a prompt on Bing or DALL-E or some other tool and ask it to render an image. And it does a pretty good job, but it doesn't know what the product is, so it makes it up. And the brands are like, yeah, well, that's useless because I can't sell it. I can't sell something I don't have. Mm-hmm. And so the brands are like, what do I do? And I said, well, you got two choices. You can just give these massive, like, LLMs your entire product catalog, and they're like, nope, can't do that because of all the new stuff that's coming out. Or you can come to a company like Amplience that trains the models and then gives the models in a sort of trustworthy way to the brands. And if we already have product images of, the Adirondack chair, we don't make it up. We use the image of the Adirondack chair. So it's fascinating. We're doing things like we're generating alt text, that ugly alt text that you have to do by law.
Yep.
We can do all of that automatically. We're generating SEO automatically. We're generating, rich text. We're generating shoppable media. We can look at, like, let's look at Brent, for example. Brent's, obviously wearing, the LA Chargers. And for example, we want to know, I was joking. I was joking, Brett. Joking. The Rams. The Rams.
All right.
The Rams. But we would say what brands want to do is they want to know across all the different images, where is that LA Rams hat? And we want to focus on that hat because that's sellable. You know, Brent wears cool glasses, but we don't sell those glasses. So we can use AI to find all the LA Rams hats and all the content and draw vectors around it and make that shoppable, searchable. The other thing we can do is we can pull out about 400 different data points from an image, you know, hat, white, hoodie, you know, blue and white, glasses, you know, beard. We can pull out all these data points and then we can index those. So on the front end, the search engines can be enriched for the consumers to find stuff better. So this is, it's a new era, I'll tell you, in shopping. It's a new era in retail, and AI is going to blow the doors off it. I tell you, it's so cool.
Perfect setup. First of all, this is the first time I'm wearing this. I literally got this in the mail yesterday. So, and it is the Rams, just, you know, make everybody aware of that. So, you know, we're literally at the point where, the OpenAI brought out ChatGPT pretty much a year ago.
Yeah.
Now, it was too soon to have really any significant impact on last year's holiday shopping season. But this year, after, the full year of, pie in the sky, everybody saying, oh, this is great, it's going to change everything, and, all the predictions, a full year of actually people having it in their hands and using it, and for looking at online retail, what big differences are you going to see, or are we going to see, companies that have had a year to think about how to, or not just a year, but learning on the go, learning and accelerating their learning? Because we've seen a lot of companies talk about it at the beginning of the year, but really doing stuff at the end of the year. How is that going to work for this shopping season? What are the smart companies that have taken as full advantage of this as possible? What are they going to do that's going to be so much different than they did a year ago?
Brent, I'd like to say a lot, but I will tell you not much.
Wow.
I'll be honest with you. I still feel that there's a lot of trepidation, a lot of unknowns, a lot of concerns. To Paul's hallucination point, we sort of see the efficacy being as important as the innovation. And so brands are very, very nervous right now. Retailers, travel transportation companies are very, very nervous to let their sort of marketeers, merchants, technologies loose on AI. To me, AI, I think in its current form, is still very much a consumer focused technology, with a lot of businesses trying to figure out how to use it and how to contain it and how to manage it. So I would say, I think this year we're going to probably see less impact, but I would profess and make a claim that next year will be the year of AI-based shopping. I really believe a year from now, the industry will have progressed. Models will have been extended from the horizontal into the vertical. Models will be trained on a brand, on a product, on an audience. The brands, the customers, the companies will be a lot more comfortable. I mean, I don't know, Brett, whether you folks covered the OpenAI Dev Day this week.
We didn't.
It's really quite amazing. I think the one thing that people have to understand is it's not just the back end that has fundamentally changed the way in which people work or the responses, but prompting is by itself an enormous challenge. Most people go to ChatGPT and type a one-sentence Google search. And you're asking, it's like you're asking the smartest kid in the class a question and you'll get a pretty good answer. But if you weren't there, ChatGPT announced ChatGPT Turbo. The prompt in ChatGPT Turbo can now accept 128,000 characters.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
500 pages
Wow.
of text. And
Wow.
so you can pass it an entire book as context for its answer. And the power of these tools is in the prompt. And human beings can't write those prompts. You know, so I believe you're going to see, and I'm hearing this more and more, this new category of prompt engineering.
Yep.
And you're going to see like tools that help generate the prompt. We're building something at Amplience that basically allows a mere mortal, a marketing or a merchant to say, I'm playing the role of an interior designer. I'm trying to sell couches to young couples between the age of 20 and 25. They live in Manhattan and they like going to these restaurants and they like eating out in these places. And they're probably watching these kinds of shows. And we build right now, sometimes it can be about 10 or 11,000 character prompts. Just by parsing, giving them these sort of parameterized things. So I would tell you, Brent Paul, that we're in the first inning. This thing has got a long way to go. And I think you're going to see a huge amount of work done by the businesses in the next 12 months. It'll be around starving the models from the horizontal and training them in the vertical.
Yeah.
It'll then be about prompt engineering, and it will be the sort of the orchestration of these AI services across a wide range of tasks. Now, one thing I learned at Palantir, which I adamantly believe, is that the power of AI is only bettered by the power of AI and a human being.
Right.
I just don't believe that AI by itself is better than the combination of AI and a person. So sadly, Brent, I think we're probably a year away from businesses taking advantage of this technology. But next year, I think you're going to hear nothing but AI-based consumer activity from not just the big, Googles, Microsofts, Amazons, but you're going to hear it from almost every brand.
So if we're going there, and I mean, to your point, and also ServiceNow's point, and to some degree, I don't remember where we heard it, but Brent, where did we hear that prompt engineers, like there was a job for like $900,000 a year for a salary for a prompt engineer, meaning to that point too, we're seeing this. It's on the one hand, it's a significant surge forward, but on the other hand, it's sort of sorting itself out into practical value. So to your point, things from vertical to horizontal. ServiceNow is using what they're calling small large language models. They're not small language models; they're actually small large language. So subsets for specific use cases, that they're building out, and so we're starting to see a lot of practical value, at least the use cases for practical value beginning to emerge pretty dramatically and also very quickly too, which is, given how long it took remember when social CRM came around, if it weren't for, it was Jeremiah and Ray doing their thing for Altimeter. That was the thing to me. I mean, as much as Brent and I probably pushed the naming of it, I mean, Brent I was CRM 2.0. And Brent said social CRM, and I remember I wrote that post on Time to Put a Stake in the Ground that I said, well, I like Brent's expression for it better than my own, so I'm going to use his, which I did. But it took a while for really the use cases to emerge there. Here, they emerged really quickly. I mean, even though it's a year, There's a lot of them now. It's not like we have one or two. We have thousands of use cases. Now, that said, going to your other point, right now it's very consumer focused. And it really is. I mean, people are still playing with it more than they are using it in the most practical of all ways, except in, tech companies kind of pushing it that way. But how do you get it? I mean, the part of the difficulty is, again, to your point earlier, getting people to trust it, right? And I don't mean worrying about the guardrails. That most consumers aren't going to concern themselves that way. They just want it like anything else. They want it to work for whatever it is they're doing. And how are they going to trust it, especially given the amount of mythology around it is still unbelievably strong. And I still can't believe that sentience is even a discussion, right? Much less people believing that. But then again, we've got a future convicted felon, I hope, who people are still voting for, right? So, so what can I tell you? So I guess hallucinations are real, but
I heard that.
Good expression. So how do you get past that morass of I don't know, fantasy fright, that people have?
I know.
How do you
so in our business, in our business, we train our models, to really understand a company's brand. So what does that mean? So we can look at a company's website, and we can, by looking at the website, by looking at the color palette, by looking at the text, we can basically deduce a whole bunch of sort of brand guidelines from that. And we can, through image recognition, also protect, the company from putting children near alcohol, or having an over bias to a particular skin type, or having too much skin shown in a particular area. So while I can't answer the sort of the efficacy of the entire AI market, I can tell you when you double click and you get down to a particular industry and a particular problem, we understand the sort of the guardrails and the controls that people want to put. Obviously, foul language, all of these things you can either sort of train in or out of the model. But at the end of the day, Paul, human beings in our business are the ones that approve the content. And I think that will remain so from a business to consumer perspective for some time. There are still hallucinations. And so we provide, workflow around the generative models that routes particular content types through human-based approval processes. And there really isn't a substitution, which again is, I think it's an and. I think it's AI and people. So there is no, as far as I can tell, silver bullet. It is something that you want to put in front of people and let people make good judgment calls. You try and give them guidelines, you try and give them the ability to sort of identify where there may be a particular risk, but we cannot, I don't think today, give anybody in AI can give 100% assurance that AI will operate without the governance of a person.
Thank you, sir.
One real last quick question. Since you don't see it, and I think I agree with you, it's probably too soon for it to go into full effect this year, but next year. So let's say we have a full year before gangbusters shopping season is all about AI. Do we have enough time to actually make sure we address responsible use of this from within that context? or is it too late already?
I think if you haven't started or you don't plan to start pretty soon, Brent, yeah, it's going to be too late. This is not non-trivial work. Building models, training models, building the efficacy rules is a non-trivial task. It's not something that you can, to use a retail term, buy off the shelf. Every brand has its own identity and its own responsibility. And so, I think if you're expecting to use AI for the next holiday season, I think that there's a crawl, walk, run, Brent. So I would say the magic on the front end is probably the hardest. But for us, for example, we have live customers today using us to generate alt text, to generate SEO, to generate image metadata. These are pretty simple, what we call utilities. They're not going to do any harm. They're going to speed up, I would say, mundane work. So I think, you've got to, like all things, right? I was always told the way to solve a big problem is to break it down into a number of little ones. And I think AI has a position today as a sort of a set of utilities. There's some really nice things it can do for marketing people, for merchants, that just make them more productive. As closer as you get to the end consumer, as more of the experience that you expose, I think the more challenge it becomes. So I would tell people AI isn't a 1 or a 0. There are many, many smaller, significant use cases that I think people can adopt today. And most people tend to jump to that, it's AI between me and the customer. And I don't think that's the whole story by any means. So I would say, Brent, there's plenty of quick wins to be had out there through utility. And it doesn't always have to be LLMs to pull points. It can be NLMs. It can be good old-fashioned machine learning and regression. There's a whole bunch of AI that can do and provide real value to a company that isn't, customer all in customer facing. So, I think, Brett, there is a lot people can do, and we're seeing a lot of companies crawl, walk, run. And I think even in the crawl phase, there's really good ROI. We got a customer who has, I don't know, I think they said they had 4,000 pages that they wanted to index for Google. And these were things like shopping guides and how to paint walls, things that weren't directly related to their primary product, but would, if Google could see them, add impact to their applicability to various different searches. But the manual task of adding SEO to 3,000 pages, they couldn't do it. So if an AI system can go through, look at the content and generate the SEO terms, that was a big win for them. Customer wouldn't see it, but it would have a massive impact on their standing within the search engine. So, I think there are a number of utilities, Brent, that people could take advantage of today.
Thank you, sir.
Awesome, man. Well, we appreciate, first of all, it's just glad to have you back, man, in the industry and being able to be a part of what we do, It's awesome. I'll overlook that whole Chargers joke thing and welcome you back,
Well, on the other hand, we do know the good news is you're not a Patriots fan, so
well, that's
true. We don't even have to ask the question.
That is true. That is true. Well, listen, honestly, you two have been just A, industry luminaries, and B, more so dear friends. And
ever.
I will tell you, as Paul knows, as you know, Brent, we all have ups and downs in our careers and we all face challenges. And I would tell everyone out here that, while you were fantastic sort of business partners, you've been very, very good personal friends of mine. And, I really appreciate all that you've done for me and the relationship that we've had. And if anyone on the audience has not been down to Paul's cellar, it's where you break bread. which is code for drink spirits.
That's-
But,
well, we're up to
Uh,
672, and they're available on demand, right?
Yeah.
So
this
we
was
had
when I first decided to take this job as the CEO of Amplience. The two of you were like top of my list. I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to tell these two.
we were
I sort of had a
actually-
10-year absence, and
Yeah,
I missed
know.
it. As I said, I missed it a lot.
Well, I
and
remember
was-
halfway
was-
through. I think you were at NetApp or something at the
Yeah,
time.
that's right.
You
remember
were,
that, yeah.
and you sent me a text saying, I miss CRM.
I
still
know.
remember that. I never forgot it.
I
That's
know.
gotta be
But thank you so
Come on.
much for giving me the opportunity.
Oh,
to
there'll be
join
more. Are you
today.
kidding? I mean, you look, you just literally proved my entire point when I did the intro. By just the way you just did this show, man. So I
Thank
think
you
a
so
lot
much.
of people want to hear a lot from you. So count on
Absolutely.
it.
And we're gonna be ending the show, but please hold on because we're actually uploading the broadcast from your web camera so that we have a clean copy of it. So we're
So
gonna
don't
end
drop
it now. So don't drop out. But on behalf of Anthony Lye, I am Brent Leary.
I'm Paul Greenberg.
We are the CRM Players, and yeah, we can't end the show without saying hello to Minnie.
Minnie. Hey,
And then
Minnie.
saying goodbye to you guys. See you next week.
Bye.